Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at a new aviation vehicle coming in for the British. This is the Sea Harrier FRS.1E. Now this is super similar to a vehicle we already have in the game. It's actually a squadron vehicle that is sat here, the Sea Harrier FRS.1. The E variant is slightly lower BR and also is classed as the early variant. And what this actually means is it just has less ordnance. That's basically the difference between the two. The vehicle is powered by the Rolls-Royce Pegasus Mark 104, which gives it excellent thrust and also general acceleration. It has access to a radar as well, the good old Ferranti Blue Fox, giving it decent range and also IFF, BVR and ACM mode on the vehicle. Since it's a Harrier, the pilot does get a lot of bells and whistles, which will be attached to him, whether it be the CCIP for the cannons, the CCIP for the rockets, or the CCIP and RP for the bombs. The only thing it doesn't have is, of course, the tracker for the guns, but generally that will be okay. The radar on top of it, it also has access to an RWR, which will be nice for it as well, and a ton of fuel, since it is a standard VTOL aircraft. Also gets the 30mm Aidens back once again in these little pockets under the fuselage. 260 rounds in total makes the Harrier a happy boy. The vehicle also gets countermeasures, so the countermeasures kind of bleed over from other Harrier variants. The only one missing them, of course, the GR1, which is incredibly sad, but 60 countermeasures is definitely enough to be completely fine, and with the RWR means that radar missiles shouldn't be too much of an issue. It also has access to a bunch of secondary armaments as well. Since this is a tech tree vehicle, you will have to grind it out, and it is between the Scimitar and also the Phantom FG1. It does actually end up at rank 7 instead of 6 though, which will hurt it a little bit, but not a huge amount, and brings it in line with the Jaguar GR1A, which is already there at rank 6. So how does its secondary weapons work? With the standard FRS-1, you get access to 2 AIM-9Ls, which is incredibly powerful for a vehicle at its BR. The FRS-1E only gets 2 AIM-9Ls, so halves its missile loadout, meaning that it's nearly, I would say, halves its killing power in stuff like aerialistic and other similar modes. What it does have, though, is similar secondary ordnance in the form of 1,000-pound bombs, which are either drag bombs or standard bombs, and with the CCIP or RP, that's going to be super powerful. It also does get access to some RP rockets if you want to smash your head against the wall. At least that is an option, and does get custom loadouts, so you can bring as much as you want on the vehicle itself. The 30mm does also have a bunch of different rounds if you want to bring them along. The ground target belts, 2 APs and 1 HE, decent penetration, so you can actually do quite a lot to ground targets. And there's the Matropod you can get for the rockets too. So it should have stock AIM-9Gs that you can see here. AIM-9Gs are very good missiles. They're on pretty much all the Harriers. They're incredibly long range and have a good burn time, which is why I enjoy them. One of the problems with the Harriers is it's not exactly the quickest, it's not a Mach available vehicle, so what this means is you can't always get as close to enemies as you want, and the AIM-9Gs having a long burn time and a pretty good launch range means that you can get pretty close to them. The AIM-9Ls are just better than them though, and also have a long burn time and are all aspect, so they're way better, but you do have to research them. At least this thing gets stock missiles, something that the Jaguar GR1A doesn't, if I remember correctly, unless they may have changed that. Maybe they changed that, which would have been super nice for it. Looks like they did. Fantastic! So, is it the Harrier GR1 that I'm thinking of? Ah yes, the Harrier GR1 is the one that doesn't get stock missiles. Never mind, that one still suffers. So, the Sea Harrier FRS-1E is coming in looking alright. You know, it's another one of those vehicles that's getting added to the British tech tree, which is a little bit different to what you'll get from other areas. There is another Harrier in the files, which is actually closer to the GR7, but that is also for Italy, not for Britain. So that is something to kind of think about. And with a bunch of stuff being added, not just for Britain, but also for other nations, I'm sure we'll get even more Harriers in the future, specifically stuff like Harrier 2s, which will turn up in the Sea variety. The vehicle also has got an updated cockpit, and this is something that it shares not just with itself, but also the standard FRS.1. They upgraded it, and it looks absolutely beautiful. You know, just kind of show you it with all the hood off and everything. Isn't that fantastic? You don't just have the digital glass or the digital hood, you have everything else, so it's just wonderful. And then also at the same time, you know, you have, of course, all of the different hoods that you want to go through if you want to, the different CCIPs and different stuff like that. It's just awesome to see the Harrier just have so much attached to it. Incredibly, this radar is also very powerful for it too. So there's just a lot of stuff. You can actually, you know, slave, of course, the AIM-9Ls to the radar lock. You can see even from that range over there, we're able to hit that guy, and that helps it out quite a lot. It only has a search radar, so nothing too fancy, but the CCIP on the bombs is really nice. And also at the same time, if you want to, you can of course do the bombing target points as well. You have the RWR. I don't think they've actually upgraded this RWR though. I think it's the same as the previous one, so nothing too different there. You do have the independent bomb drops, which makes it a lot nicer for CAS if you want to go in and just hammer things, you know. And obviously you have the big old 1,000-pounders if you want to drop bases or if you want to annihilate stuff in ground forces. What this gives you is an extra CAS option, which also has access to VTOL and also has access to ways of keeping itself alive in the air. And for me, when you have a look at the Harriers, they did take quite a big hit when it was decided that they would lose their air spawn in Air Realistic, but also they still have such good acceleration. You can usually get to altitude and get moving as quick as you want, and then kind of attack the enemy from there. It's a beautiful machine. I'm so happy to see so many Harriers in the game nowadays compared to previously, and hopefully we see more going forward, not just for Britain and America, but for other nations too. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Juan the Panda, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Merciless Reaper, Orange Tail, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Bareen, Peter Grayling, Alan Hacker, Sem Alslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R., and also Lafouche for supporting the channel.